Hello and welcome back everyone to the video series Dating Game Show on CBS that hates rocks now, but loves to break plates. That's right, we're talking about The Amazing Race Season 33, Episode 9, and let's start off where last episode left off, and that was that Kim and Penn and Raquel and Kayla were the first two teams to finish the last leg, so they are leaving in Group 1, heading for a long road trip to Thessaloniki to get their next clue and head to the next roadblock. About 15 minutes after they leave, then Group 2 of Dusty and Ryan and Arun and Natalia are leaving to meet up with them. Now, Raquel and Kayla in the episode talked about how they did not want to do the same thing that they did in Switzerland with their long drive. They didn't want to go the scenic route and get there behind teams that they were in front of to start the leg. Well, they did it. It was like history repeating itself because Kim and Penn had no problem making it to the outdoor theater first. That's when they open up the roadblock. They see that it's called No Stone Left Unturned, where you have to flip over a whole bunch of rocks looking for a gold coin underneath a certain type of rock, which there was 4 coins under 4 rocks out of 1,000 in this outdoor theater. Kim said she would do it, and after what seemed to be quite a while, Raquel and Kayla were able to get their second. Raquel is like, yes, I will do this. They're flipping over rocks. At one point, all teams were there. Dusty and Ryan got their third, and then it was Natalia and Arun. So there are 4 people looking in this theater, looking at under every rock. This was half the episode. Pretty much at the minute 22 mark, the first coin had not been found yet. That is until Raquel flips over the stone, sees the gold piece, gives it to the Oracle, and she hands her the next clue, and they are taking off looking for a Socrates impersonator for him to say an 8-word phrase, give him the next clue, and they can be heading off to the detour. And that's pretty much how the rest of the leg goes down, as Raquel and Kayla take a steady lead after finding the first stone, and they never give it up. Second team to find a gold coin underneath a rock was Kim and Penn. Kim was talking about the sound effect of missing out on something or not doing something right that they play on The Amazing Race, which they were really hamming it up in the edit. I thought that was really funny how they just kept on playing it as she was talking about it. But Kim was able to find the gold coin underneath the stone. You can just see how frustrated everybody is during this roadblock. If you were looking for so long, especially with teams leaving, like Dusty and Ryan are the last team there, and you could just tell how frustrated Dusty is getting by just picking up what seemed to be every single rock. I know I would be freaking out. I mean, I was just freaking out watching it because like, oh my gosh, it's right there. Just pick it up. Just pick it up. It's right there. Now, I will say that this was a majority of the episode was picking up rocks and putting them down, which again, I was talking about how hard this would be to actually do it. But when watching the episode, I found myself somewhat bored. I felt like this overall episode was a little underwhelming in my opinion for what they were doing and then the ending of it all, but let's just keep going with this. So Raquel and Kayla get their clue from the Socrates impersonator. They head off to the restaurant where they're having to pick between 2 detours. And really, is this even a choice? Let's just be real. It's either break 'em, where you have to play like musical chairs to breaking dishes. Each member has to break one plate after the other. So person A has to break a dish, person B has to break a dish, person A has to break a dish. So they're not just all picking up plates and just smashing them as the music is playing. So there is some strategy to this, and you have to be within the boundaries of the rules. The other part of this detour was bring 'em, which teams would have to deliver 300 plates uphill to the restaurant that people were breaking dishes at. Like, is there even a choice? Everybody picks break 'em, duh. I think nobody in their right mind would pick bring 'em. This is the type of detour that you play at the beginning of the race when there's way more teams and there's a cutoff for how many teams can do which detour, right? Because if the teams that get there early, they pick the break 'em because it sounds more fun and it sounds easier, they can do that, while the teams that come in later are forced to pick the bring 'em, which is way more difficult. And to me, with 4 teams left, this really was like a no-brainer. Everybody was going to take break 'em. Everybody does take break 'em. Raquel and Kayla get to the restaurant first. They break all the plates. They get their clue. They head down to the White Tower to meet up with Phil, and they get first place. Congratulations, that's their first place finish of The Amazing Race. They are peaking at a very great time as they're heading towards the finale. We move on to Kim and Penn, who also find the Socrates impersonator. He tells them the 8 words, hands them the clue. They take that clue, head to the restaurant, break a whole bunch of plates, and they get that clue from those plates, and they head down to meet Phil at the pit stop to lock in the second place finish. Now, keeping track of time, 40 minutes has passed, and 2 of the 4 teams have finished this race. It now comes down to 2 teams with Natalya and Arun in 3rd place, looking for the Socrates impersonator, while Dusty and Ryan are still at the outdoor theater looking under rocks. And at one point, Ryan is seeing that Dusty is getting so frustrated that his anger is coming out that he tells them, like, hey, take a break, come up, look at the scenery, take a breather, just relax, it's all gonna be okay. Dusty and Ryan don't find a rock until 3 hours has passed in this task, and the time mark is like 9:45. There's 15 minutes left in this episode by the time that Dusty and Ryan find their rock, get their clue from the theater, and are heading down to meet the Socrates impersonator. This is where the edit is trying to make it seem like this is a close race. They're showing Natalya and Arun making mistakes, getting misdirected, and unable to find the right place where the Socrates impersonator is. And to me, I'm thinking, there's absolutely no way they're this close with Natalya and Arun. I just can't believe it. They showed Natalya and Arun meeting up with Socrates to get the clue, and then right after that, they showed Dusty and Ryan getting the clue from the Socrates impersonator. And once I saw that, I was like, the only thing that will make me believe that this is a close race is if they both meet up at some point at the restaurant at the same time. If they're both at the restaurant at the same time, lock it in, they're there. It's a close race then. It's going to be a real foot race at the end. No, it does not happen. Natalya and Arun get through breaking the dishes, albeit they were fighting about how to break the dishes, which I get it. It's a father-daughter relationship in a stressful situation. They were having some struggles during the whole directions of like, go straight, is it right or is it left? And then she's like, oh, it's left. And then now it's them arguing on how to break a dish, which is like, all right, everybody just take a breather. You guys have a good lead. Don't worry about it. You're going to get there in 3rd place. Just get through this. Just break the dishes. They get their clue. They're heading down to the White Tower. Then they show Dusty and Ryan breaking dishes. They get their clue. And now the edit is trying to make it seem like they're running at Phil at the same time, maybe from different directions. But it's Natalya and Arun who make it to the pit stop, get 3rd place, and we find out that the race wasn't even close at all because Dusty and Ryan don't even make it to the pit stop mat while Natalya and Arun are still there. So this was a complete blowout. So Dusty and Ryan get into last place. They came in 4th. You think, oh my gosh, they lost it. They lost it. They completely stumbled at the very end when it mattered the most until Phil goes, no. This is not an elimination leg. You will go on to the next part of the amazing race where you will be leaving last. You'll be departing in group 3 and it'll probably be 15 minutes behind group 2. And I really hope that there's going to be another task that they're going to have to perform because 15 minutes is nothing for Dusty and Ryan. I feel like this will just make them hone their skills, hone their focus, and focus in a little bit deeper and stronger and be able to surpass Natalya and Arun. I thought Natalya and Arun did the unthinkable and was doing the underdogs proud in this race because I was thinking that was it. This is what they needed. This is what they needed to hop into the finals, get that 3rd place finish, but it's going to be difficult because they did get kind of like thrown off with the directions. They were fighting quite a bit during this leg, and if they keep this up heading into the next leg, then I feel like they might be the next ones leaving, especially if there is no task in the next episode where it is going to be a giant equalizer, where they're going to have to look under more rocks or anything like that, where it really hones to their skills and they're not super yelling at each other or something too strenuous on themselves or dancing or anything like that to really be their disadvantage in the next form of the race. Like I mentioned, this was just very underwhelming for me. I get that all of what they did was difficult if you were in that situation. I just didn't think it was as satisfying to watch as the past episodes of The Amazing Race. And I have to chalk this up to the pandemic and their planning and having to plan around the pandemic and the lockdowns and after everything, because this leg was, I think, the most underwhelming so far. I mean, it was like 2 tasks that weren't that hard or weren't that fun to watch, while also getting a clue from a Socrates impersonator, which just felt like a waste at that point. I mean, it was 4 guys hanging around a location, and then he said 8 words and then hands them a clue, where those 8 words don't show up anywhere else. It wasn't like he said the 8 words, then they got the clue, they went, broke some dishes, then had to do another task where at the end of that last task, you have to say the phrase that Socrates gave you so that way you can get your next clue. And nothing like that happened. So to me, the Socrates was just like, oh, we have to have another place for them to stop to get another clue. Like, this episode wasn't my favorite at all, especially with having it be a non-elimination leg. Now, don't get me wrong, Dusty and Ryan have done well. If anybody's going to get an extra chance on a non-elimination leg, I would have to think that the top 3 of Kim and Penn, Raquel and Kayla, and Dusty and Ryan deserve another shot if coming into last place. But for this to be such an underwhelming non-action leg of the race, and then to also be non-elimination leg, it was just like, well, did anything really happen then? Like, honestly, did anything really happen? Was this a speed bump for us, the audience, watching that this was just like a filler episode heading towards the finale where the next week's episode is going to be 2 hours, where we have 1 episode ahead where the final 3 teams will move on to the finals of The Amazing Race 33? I don't know. I'm kind of thinking that it was a speed bump for us now, because this did seem like nothing happened this episode, realistically. That's just my opinion. What do you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. What do you think about the Turning Rocks roadblock? What do you think about the Socrates impersonator? What did you think about the Breakum detour? Who are you rooting for? Who are you rooting against? And were you happy that it was a non-elimination leg, or were you upset that it was a non-elimination leg? Let me know anything and everything you thought about this leg of the race down in the comment section below. Did you find it underwhelming? Did you think it was just a run-of-the-mill kind of episode? Did you like this episode? Let me know anything and everything. Thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really, really soon with more Amazing Race content, more content in general. But until then, peace.